Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your boy Al Qualls here, host of Guys Talking Sports. With me today, I got my boy Adrian Catwell. He's here right now. Introduce yourself, Adrian.
What's going on? What's going on out there, folks?
All right.
Well, chilling.
And how's your week going, man?
Man, it's long. I was kind
Yeah,
of kind of under the weather there Monday and Tuesday, so I'm still trying to recoup.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. So we're just gonna just get started. We're gonna change the pace a little bit. We've been talking about NFL, these past couple of podcasts. So we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna talk about Major League Baseball, and I guess we should start with now that the postseason is starting. Before we go into the postseason, we're gonna talk about one of a legacy that cannot be ever duplicated to an extent. The play of the history career of one Derek Jeter. And Adrian, I
Yeah,
wanted to get your take, the captain, as you would normally say, and I wanted to get your take on Derek Jeter and his career and his legacy.
man, what can you say? I mean, Derek Jeter, he's our age. Shoot, came up in the Yankee organization as we were in college. Started out playing shortstop. I mean, this is the pure loyalty in itself. Not wanting to jump to another squad. I mean, it's this rare in today's sports, especially when you have the opportunity to make a ton of money with other teams. Just to spend 20 years in one place for all of your career. I mean, that's what every fan could ever hope for their favorite team. Especially me being a Yankees fan. When you have Jeter, you had the Mariano Rivera's of the world, the Jorge Posadas. I mean, Andy Pettit, he kind of disappeared there for a couple of years, but he knew where his heart was. He knew he had to come back and retire a Yankee and finish out his career being a Yankee. I mean, it's just hard, especially with everything that's going on. So, words can't describe everything that Jeter's ever done, the plays, the hits, the memories. I mean, I doubt there ever. Well, I won't say I doubt. I mean, there will always be some sort of a player that will put himself in a position to say, I want to be like Derek Jeter if I make it to the big leagues, and I want to stay with one team, and I want to become a legend like he's become a legend. I mean, but I don't know if that mentality is with any athlete nowadays, considering the amount of money that's being thrown around. So, I mean, I tip my hat to him. Hashtag respect. It just don't get much better than that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you're completely right. I mean, what other athlete out there would do something where they would stick with one team for that amount of years? Like you said, it's very rare to have someone do that, especially in this day and age, where you see a lot of superstars switching teams and not really committed to just staying and retiring as with one team, and it's definitely rare. Much respect to the captain for doing the things that he's done, and he wasn't really like that superstar type of person, but it was just the little things that he did as far as leadership is concerned that helped make the Yankees to what they were these past couple of, I mean, the years that he's been on the team, and for them to get to where they reach with the championships with him on as as the team member, it's something that can never be duplicated at this particular, and it's rare, like you said, to see someone stay with one team and go out finishing his career the way that he did.
I agree. I mean, the only player that really comes to mind right now is probably Tim Duncan. Where he came in under the Admiral. Learn with under that tutelage, and define his game, and as he's gotten older, and to help with the consistency of the Spurs, he went ahead and took less money so that he may still be a superstar. I mean, he'll always be a top NBA player, but he took a lesser defined role on the team to give the young fresh legs to get the money that they deserve, knowing that I got my money. Let's go ahead and win these championships because it's obvious to those. You have some players out there that though money's important, winning is the ultimate goal. That's where the Jeters come in. Jeter could have left New York and probably got paid. But he was like, man, look, I can stay in New York. I can still get a decent coin, but I can win championships here because the Yankees are going to do what it takes to bring the players over here to make sure that we going to be in a position to win. And bigger than that, the fact that the Yankees didn't make the playoffs this year, and this is the first time in Jeter's career that he never made the playoffs. In 20 years, he played in the playoffs 19 straight years. I mean, that's just incredible. I don't think there's an athlete in any sport that can sit there. And I guess the only other player I can really think of, and Duncan hasn't been playing in the league in the NBA for 20 years, but considering ever since Popovich has been coach for San Antonio, I believe, except for like their first year, they've made the playoffs. So I guess the only one comparison you could possibly have is Duncan and Jeter, which is bananas. But I mean, it's just an incredible feat. It's just the mentality of a pure champion that money will be there. If you manage your money right, money will never go away. But the opportunity to win championships is just great.
No, I completely agree with that. At this and you're right. I mean, because at first I thought the only person that would be in comparison would be Kobe Bryant as well. But
yes.
But actually, Tim Duncan is more of the typical Jeter at this particular point, because like you said, the person Tim Duncan at this particular role, he sacrificed a lot to keep the Spurs to where they are, and he made it less about himself and more about the team. And I think that's what Jeter is doing at this particular point. So in comparison, I think Tim Duncan is a great comparison to what Jeter is doing. I mean, that's where the scope where Tim Duncan is going now. But I think Jeter, he solidified that particular role, and hopefully others would follow in his footsteps. But the question, I guess, is, from Major League Baseball standpoint, would there ever be another Jeter? Not in so much of as his position being played, but as the player itself.
Good question. Good question. Will there ever be a dude that puts the team above himself, that doesn't want the spotlight on himself but knows that the spotlight is on him, carries himself with dignity and class, doesn't put himself in the paper, nothing negative, I don't know, man. I mean, with all the distractions, Jeter is like us. He came up with, we came in, the internet was pretty much next to nothing. And then now you're at the point where, you could type your every thought and it could be put out there in a matter of instance. And, Jeter's just not about that. I mean, the technology today, I just don't know, can there be an athlete who's not self-centered? I mean, I guess that'll be the biggest thing. If you can find an athlete who respects the game, respects what they do, understands that the game is bigger than them, and is willing to play within the scope of a team and keep team first, then maybe you might have another Jeter. But if you put all of those things in perspective, the only other person that you can really sit there and compare that person to is Duncan. Kobe, yes, has had the legacy with the Lakers, but has Kobe ever really sacrificed money for the betterment of the team?
No. No. I can't answer that question. No.
That right there is like a factor.
Yeah.
So outside of a Duncan, and Duncan is the same way. Duncan recognized that he's that dude, but he doesn't want the spotlight. He just wants to go out there, give 100%, make sure that the team is in the best position to win, do what he can do, and if all of those things fall into place, you see a dude that's 35, 36 years old that shouldn't be playing at a high level that he's playing, especially at the position that he's playing, and still winning championships. I mean, let's be real. Not switching, not trying to, not talking, not stopping to talk about Jeter, but in a sense, Cleveland is loaded, but if you put Cleveland head-to-head against San Antonio in a 7-game series, will Cleveland win?
No.
Dude, San Antonio still to me is the team to beat.
No.
And Duncan is about to be 37, 38 years old. So I mean that's what I'm saying as far as an individual recognizing who he is and knowing that he's great. Now, Jeter was never the person to put up huge monster numbers like home runs and RBIs. That wasn't Jeter's game. But Jeter was great with getting timely hits. Defensively, Jeter. I mean, there's not too many people out there that made moments and plays and things in playoffs and different scenarios that forever will go in the infamousy of baseball. I mean, it's just the things that he's done, and like the diving into the seats head first, coming up with a bloody forehead, making a catch in a playoff game. I mean, things like that, you're not going to find too many players to go out there and actually act unselfish, like put his body in danger to make sure that we're going to win this game no matter what. I mean, there's just not too many people out there, and it's just great to see, and it's sad to see him go, because it's the Yankees in itself now, especially me being a fan, it's like, okay, who's left? Like, I don't even know who's left now. They're going to be all new faces come 2015, excuse me.
No, I completely agree with that. And you're absolutely right. Right now, you're looking at a time where it's basically, this is like the last sort of like the last of Mohicans in a sense, where it's rare to see someone that sacrificed so much to actually retire with the team. Someone who's been who is a great teacher of the game, as well as, like you said, sacrifice. And to be honest, there's no comparison at this particular point as far as someone that's on Jeter's level. And you can see it with like some of the commercials today. Like when they did the Derek Jeter commercial, the people that was giving him respect. Like you see Michael Jordan tipping his hat off to him. Like you don't see none of the current stars as part of that commercial, because really there's no comparison to Derek Jeter as far as an athlete is concerned for all the things that he has done.
I agree.
Which is very sad, because that, to be honest, that's a person that thinks about the game first and himself later. And right now we're in a position where superstars think highly of themselves first and the game second. And regardless of the fact, they have to understand that when you sacrifice yourself for the team, it makes the team better because you're giving your all to that team. Like you can't have a person that's a superstar. I mean, like that want to be a superstar, actually give their sacrifice for the team because they're really trying to do it for themselves. And that's pretty much the number one issue with athletes in sports today. Not saying all, but majority of them are like that. It's rare that you'll have someone that actually sacrifice the team first. I mean, sacrifice for the team first, I should say.
Man, look, all these kids coming out, making it into the league, I'm going to go back and say it's probably as far as the last 5 to 7 years. All these jokers, they come out, they get their initial contract, and all of them want to just do their best to try to get paid. That's all they're worried about. Signing that next big contract because they know that I guess that big contract may never ever come, so they're trying to look forward to their future. Now, I'm not going to say Jeter didn't get paid. I'm sure he got broke off because at one point he was one of the highest paid players in baseball at the time when he signed his contract. But then there was A-Rod, and then there was all these other folks that are coming out there signing some ridiculous contracts. But that being said, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if you'll have somebody in baseball, maybe the Mike Trouts, or some of these young up and coming stars, maybe McCutchen from Pittsburgh, or I don't know, the Bryce Harpers or the Steven Strasburgs of the Nationals. I'm trying to think. I don't know all the young studs in baseball nowadays, but maybe, just maybe, these players just sit there and say, you know what? I see the respect that Derek Jeter and the year before Mariano Rivera got, when they were coming down to their final season, and how every team that they played against paid their homage to that player. That's pretty damn cool. Maybe that can happen to me if I'm consistent. I play my best and I put forth my best effort and give all my effort towards the team and not worry about myself, and everything else will just fall into place. It's possible, but that said person would have to have a higher respect for the game itself than so much more than them actually playing the game. That's the way I look at it, because you have to look at it in the sense that these upper echelon, this less than 1% of these athletes that are out there playing these games are playing a sport that, as a kid, it was just fun to them. Maybe they weren't looking at it as a career back when they were 6, 7, 8, or 9. But after they got to high school and realized it was a grind, and this is what their passion was and what they wanted to be, where they wanted to go. But if they could ever get back to that time when there was when the sport was actually just fun and they're playing it for fun and they're playing it for the team instead of themselves, then maybe you might have one or two, or maybe more than a handful of those players to be that dude. But you never know.
That is true. And it's hopefully down the pike somewhere along those lines, we'll have someone that is like that, to a point where they could probably teach these young people, young superstars, I should say, all about the respect of what is, how to do things the right way. Especially from someone that's a veteran, from these veteran players, because truth be told, it's not just about Derek Jeter, it's just veterans as a whole teaching the young superstars the right way to do things. And, sometimes you see some of the things that, like you said, superstars sometimes do things just for themselves. And, Jeter being a person that never did things for himself, but just being a person that he was, and to have people follow his lead is something that every young person should strive for. I mean, when he announced his retirement, it's rare that you see other the places that he played baseball, the stadiums, all giving him gifts, out of the respect that he deserves. It's rare that you find every major league stadium outside of Yankee Stadium getting something for him, donating to his charities because of the person that he was. And I think that's something that these young superstars need to strive for. It's not really all about wins and championships. It's really nice to have, but you want to submit your legacy. About the longevity is really important in submitting your legacy.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, even Derek, how fitting was it that in his last at bat at Yankee Stadium, he hits the game-winning hit to actually win the game for the Yankees?
Yes.
I mean, that's fitting of his career and how he should have went out. And then, he could have had his last 3 games against Boston, up in Boston. He easily could have said, you know what, the heck with it, I'm done. I went out on top. I won the game. I'm in Yankee Stadium. I'm on cloud 10. Nothing can diminish, the feeling that I have. But out of respect for Boston and the Red Sox rivalry and everything that goes on, he said, you know what, I'm still going to go in there and play a couple games, just because, just the respect for the Boston organization and the Yankee organization and the feel for, it just feels like it's a playoff atmosphere every time that they play. I mean, now that's classy. I mean, he could have easily said, "Nah, I'm done." But the fans in Boston wanted that opportunity to see him that one last time as well. So, I mean, that's the heart of a true champion right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though they didn't make the playoffs, and sadly, they still had the opportunity to make the playoffs even until going into that last weekend of the season, which is phenomenal considering all the injuries that the Yankees had. I mean, he was still in it to the very end. I mean, 20 years, 19 straight playoff appearances until his very last year that the team didn't make it. I mean, I doubt there's any player that will ever come close to that stretch. Maybe the closest one again would probably be Duncan.
And what's crazy about it is because Duncan's not even he's in another sport. He's not even part of Major League. So,
Right.
It's rare that you'll find someone that goes up that's like that in the same sport, in the same sport. It's rare that you would find someone like that. I mean, yeah, like you said, Tim Duncan right now is the closest in comparison to him at this particular point. Because of the championships he's won, also because of the years that he's been with the same exact team, and it's unfortunate, but hopefully down the road someone would, there other people will step up and take and follow that same approach, because that's what the sport needs. That's what all sports right now need. Someone with that passion to stick with and stay with their team no matter through thick and thin, no matter what the what pressures that they have against them. I think that's something that's very important and what the young people need to strive to be like.
Man, that ain't happening.
I know, but we could all dream.
I mean, these jokers. I mean, I just look at the Barkleys of the world, the Ewings of the world, the Malones, the Paytons, the Kemps, all these jokers. I can only focus on basketball because I mean, back then, you're talking about late '80s, early '90s, where these jokers were. Nah, I'm staying with the Knicks. I'm staying with the Sixers because I believe as a superstar I can lead my team to the championship. And granted, yes, as they got older in their 12th, 13th, 14th season, and they realized, okay, it just ain't happening. And now I'll try to latch on to a team to see if I can grab a ring. I can respect that, but I'm not trying to knock LeBron. I guess he had an agenda, or he was whatever he's trying to do, and he had to do what he needed to do in Miami. Blah blah blah. I don't really care, but personally, I would just like to see superstars in whatever sport that they are have faith in their GMs and the ownerships of their team, and believe that it's going to be some hard knocks. It's not going to be easy in the beginning, but if you just stick by me, I will do everything in my power to make sure I get the tools necessary around you to win. And let's ride this horse and see where it takes us. And I just don't think that. I don't think players nowadays or these athletes, when they feel as though they're entitled to X amount of dollars, and also, of course, they want to win ultimately, but of course, money trumps the winning portion in the beginning. That they have the mentality to do it. I mean, the Yankees were lucky. The Yankees had an owner in George Steinbrenner, before he passed and even after he passed, where the Yankees weren't afraid to go out there and spend money to bring in talent because they knew they needed to put a premier team on the field to make sure to keep the fans happy. You got owners out there that just don't believe that, which is really sad.
Mets.
Well, they tried. They just got the wrong talent. They really got the wrong talent, but they tried to go out there and get some high price players, but think about it, when they went the Bobby Bonillas of the world and so forth and so on, they went out there and tried. It just never worked. I mean, the Yankees and the Mets, met up in the World Series. What, it was, 2000?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, of course the Yankees won, or 99, whatever it was.
Uh-huh.
But I mean that's when they tried. They had Piazza and they had all the pitching and all the hitting, and it just didn't work out. But I guess that's where it comes down to as well. As much as we would want to believe that we would love to have our athletes to be loyal to a particular team, then it has to also come down to the owner and what the owner believes. If the owner wants to go out there and spend money, they're going to do so. But obviously, if they don't feel as though they can spend the money, then I guess they're not going to do it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's not, with today's superstars, and like you said, it's no knock against LeBron or anybody at this particular point, especially if ownership feels as though that you're not, they could get value off if they trade you or something like that. I mean, that's really up to the owners, but it's from a person that chooses where they want to be or whether they stay or whether they go. I mean, from a superstar perspective, if you are, the biggest athlete, or you put your team on a position where each time they have a chance to win, and it's up to you to make the decision of where your loyalties lie. And the thing about it is like you said before, Jeter had plenty of opportunities to go to other teams. But other teams, I'm pretty sure other teams knew the fact that he was loyal to the Yankees. Just like if any other team would, I mean, everybody knows for a fact that Tim Duncan is not going to go anywhere. He won't leave the Spurs. If especially if he's taking pay cuts to stay with the Spurs, they know if it's a free agent, they know they're not going to pursue him because they know where his loyalty lies. I think that alone is something that's very rare and important to people nowadays. And I find that I respect that a lot more than just the stats or whatever it is that they've done. The fact that you did it with the same team throughout your career, for me, that's something that earns my respect.
Oh, definitely, and that's why Jeter will always be that dude. He's probably in that rarefied air with modern day legacies of like the Jordans and I guess Tiger before he had his issues, and
Oh yes.
yeah. So I mean, he's in that rarefied air. I mean, there's not too many athletes out there that can sit as high as a Jeter right now. There's only a handful. So as the modern everyday Joe like ourselves, we got to pay homage where homage is due, and Yankee fan or not, if you dislike the evil empire, it's great because we dislike you as well, but you got to respect the man and the player that he was and the individual that he was. Plus, dude was a pimp. I mean, we all heard the stories. He had his rendezvous.
Yeah, he was very private. That's
right. But even when he did his stuff, when he was real classy with it, he would make sure that his ladies had a ride home the next morning, had signed memorabilia from him, and a handwritten letter. I mean, how can you be mad at that?
Nah, that's definitely something that you can't not. And not only that, he's done Saturday Night Live and stuff. He submitted himself as something very, very, very it's different than a major league baseball player that actually submitted himself. Not really submitted himself, but he really put he didn't he didn't really do it, but he submitted himself to being more of an icon, just outside of Major League Baseball itself.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just the way he carried himself.
Yeah, definitely.
He made sure that he was in the city that any wrong turn could put him on the front page of every tabloid in America or across the world. He made sure that he kept himself and his nose extremely, extremely clean.
Yes, yes,
You
he
know, and
did.
that's hard to do considering you're in New York, one of the media capitals of the world. You know, was where the light shines even brighter on you, especially if you're that star.
Definitely, definitely. And you know what? It's a good way for him to go out where, to be honest, I mean, even though it's unfortunate that the Yankees didn't make the playoffs, it's still a good way for him to go out without any drama that other than the Yankees not making the playoffs. Because, in past years, Yankees, their news haven't always been great. So to see this year being his farewell, well, everything was okay. Like there was nothing bad going on in the Yankees organization. Um, I think that's a good way. That's a good step. Um,
Yeah,
I
I agree.
mean, it could have been worse. Like any bad news would have tarnished this season for him. But it didn't, and everything played out the way it was supposed to play out. So,
Right.
um, but before I let you go, side note, what do you thought about since I know you're a loyal Yankee fan. What do you thought about Brian Cashman?
What happened? What do you do?
No, no, no. I mean, I'm just saying in general, like his I mean, what he did. I mean, what he did as a general manager this year. Do you think he should be like? Do you want him back as a general manager?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Cashman ain't doing nothing bad. You know, he's sticking by his guns. He's not out there. He's not out there like he was 10 years ago, just buying up the market, spending primo dollars on every possible free agent out there. You know, he's being smart. He's uh he's taking calculated risk, and on paper, if you want to take the Yankees as a whole before injuries, Yankees on paper were pretty good, but then when you have half of your 3/4 of your starting rotation go down, and you're relying on patchwork, pitching and all this type of stuff, it makes it very difficult to win. I mean, and then on top of that, and of course, the offense wasn't as explosive as they would like, and then of course, no knock on Jeter. Jeter, this ain't the 3 or 4 years ago Jeter prior to him getting hurt, versus this year's Jeter. I mean, obviously was a shell of himself. I mean, he wasn't really as dominant, average wise as he was in years past. But out of respect for Jeter, you're not going to bench him. So I mean, you can realistically state that a lot of times they were offensively probably could have been in a better position if they would have had a better hitting infielder than Jeter. But I mean, would you want it any other way? Nah. I'd take a 40-year-old Jeter over anybody just because I'm a homer like that. So, I applaud Cashman. I'm curious to see now that Jeter is gone, if we're going to take somebody from the farm and bring them up and groom them, or are we going to go after a high-profile shortstop to replace Jeter? And then, of course, anybody who comes in and replaces Jeter is just going to be that dude that's replacing Jeter.
Yeah.
So many stigmas that's going to be placed against that individual. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Definitely be interested to see what Brian Cashman does. I like you said at this particular point, based on all the injuries and stuff like that, I still think he did a good job. So I really don't see anything happening to him up in but I really think he's done a great job with the roster that they had. It'd be interesting to see what they do over the summer, but at this particular point, me being a Mets fan, at least you guys are making efforts, I should say. Um,
I think the coach, and gosh, his name is slipping me right now. The Yankees coach should be eligible for possibly up for manager of the year, considering the Yankees were still in it to damn near like 4 games left in the season, and they finally got knocked out. But considering what they were working with and what they had, it's like he did a bang up job. And why is his name not ringing a bell right now?
Who, Girardi?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
now the question is whether or not I'm curious to see if he's going to actually receive votes about this. I don't think he's going to get manager of the year.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it too. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if the coach from the Royals get it. The manager, I should say, from the Royals get it. But I would I could see some of them give some of them votes going towards Girardi as well. Um,
Right.
so, but anyway, I guess that's something that we could always discuss more down the road. But we're going to continue this. We're going to talk about probably next week. We'll talk more about Major League Baseball, see how the playoffs is going. Focus on there. We're going to take a break from NFL because I'm NFL'd out at this particular point. We've been talking a lot of NFL news. But knowing the NFL, there'll probably be some news by the time next week rolls around where we'll probably end up discussing it again. So,
I agree. And, it's almost basketball time, so we can definitely talk some basketball too.
yeah, we'll get into that. We definitely gotta make our predictions about basketball upcoming, but we got plenty of time to talk about them. I mean, it's
True.
starting, but we got plenty of time. But I do want to thank you for taking the time out to talk on the podcast and on YouTube as well and Google Plus Hangouts. Thanks for hanging out with me, Adrian, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt. I always enjoy it.
And thank you for everybody else that's been watching. You can catch guys talking sports every week, every week night. No, not every weeknight. I'm sorry. Every Wednesdays from 9 o'clock on to 10 usually. This time it was a special Thursday edition. But we'll probably mix it between Wednesday or Thursday, one of those days next, down the road. But you can catch guys talking sports on Google Plus Hangouts on the YouTube. You can check it out You can also check it out on my Twitter. I am Al Quarles, as you can see on the bottom. You can also subscribe. We're also on iTunes as well. You can hit the subscribe button, which is right there. Maybe a little small, but it's right there when it's all said and done. I'd like to thank Adrian again for hanging out and talking with us about sports, and tip off to Derek Jeter as well. For everybody else, if you like us, circle me. If you have any questions, there's a Q&A section as well that you could check out. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter as well. If you have any comments that you would like to make. I'd like to thank everybody for checking us out. Again, Guys Talking Sports, we're now podcast on iTunes as well, so you can check us out there. Again, check us out next week. We'll probably talk more about the Major League Baseball scene, probably a little bit of NBA and NFL as well. Again, this is Al Quarles from Guys Talking Sports, and I'll see y'all next time.
Peace out.